Over the last year or so, I've really struggled to stay invested with a particular save or household in The Sims 4. But in this video, I'm gonna draw on a trend from our friends over in the Minecraft community and embark on an experiment to cure this very silly ailment of mine by starting my own forever world in The Sims 4. Today, I'll be walking you through what a forever world is, how I created one in The Sims 4, and present some reasons for why you might want to try this yourself. Let's get started. So first, what actually is a forever world? Over the last few months, a bunch of creators here on YouTube have made videos all about starting a forever world in Minecraft. And this, really simply, means that you start one new world and that's it. It's the only save you play in going forward. No starting a new world when you get bored or when a new update releases. You make do with your forever world. Yes, you might obviously take breaks from it, but this is what you always come back to. I feel like this concept has got really popular because the idea of committing to something and seeing how far we can progress with it, if we actually let ourselves, is a very alluring and satisfying one. That's why I love the Legacy Challenge in The Sims, and I'm always so in awe of players who are able to maintain the same save for well over 10 generations with the same family. I think that with Minecraft being out for as long as it has been, as well as the fact that it's so immensely open-ended, many players fall into that trap of relishing in that really quick sense of progression that you get right as you start a new save. You know, that punch the tree to get the wood to build a cabin kind of brain tickle. But then you might get overwhelmed by the ideas of what to do, or a lack thereof, after a few hours into playing. And so then you quit, and in a month or so, or maybe even a day or a week, you start the cycle all over again. I feel like the forever world is meant to curb that cycle and push you to adventure more, try new things, and get really curious about the world that you're in and the mark that you intend to leave on it. And that brings me to The Sims 4. There are a handful of similarities between The Sims 4 and Minecraft, which I think would make this idea of the forever world transition really well between the two games. First, The Sims 4 has also been out for an ungodly amount of time, so many of us in this community that maybe have hundreds or thousands of hours in this game are feeling similarly super familiar with the game by now, obviously, and are looking for new ways to experience The Sims 4 after all this time. Second, The Sims 4, over all the time that it's been out, has had a ton of content added to it, both through free updates and of course paid DLC. I for one have bought many packs for this game, and I'm ashamed to say that I've barely experienced some of them. And I think it's because that initial gameplay loop in The Sims 4 is equally as exciting as that in Minecraft. It's so fun to make a new sim, start at the bottom with no skills, and start working your way to the top through, you know, earning money, building your career and your skills. But you can face challenges along that journey to the top, which for me often makes me want to jump off the ladder and start again. This often connects to my motivation when it comes to playing with a save. And again, this means that I haven't really dived into all that this game has to offer by any means. So I, at least, am really craving a sense of commitment when it comes to this game. I think that connects to a wider issue that I face with The Sims 4 that some of you might be able to relate to. I oftentimes approach The Sims 4 like I play The Sims 3. I expect the world in The Sims 4 to already be fleshed out right as I hop into live mode with a new household, with The Sims 4 being much more tailored to giving the player creative and imaginative control. That expectation is always left unmet, so I get bored and I quit, and again the cycle starts again a few weeks or months later. I feel like going into this new save with the mindset of this being my forever world will help push me through this, as I know that every household I make in this save will be adding those little layers of lore, memories, and interest over time. If I get bored with a household and want to indulge that craving of starting again with a new household, I absolutely can, but then that experience is already going to start off as a richer one off the bat. This is where the link to Minecraft breaks down slightly though. I hate it when you've played in a save for ages in The Sims 4 and you initially forgot to change the neighborhood stories options and the aging settings. So the original goths are dead, but the household has moved into a one-bed starter home, despite Bella and Mortimer popping out 5 more kids and adopting 10 dogs. So the world can feel like a mess to play in over time if you're not careful. And that actually leads me perfectly on to how I have set up my forever world. To avoid that messiness from setting in after 2 weeks of playing in this save, I've entirely disabled neighborhood stories as well as aging for all Sims outside of my active household. The original Sims 4 Sims might not have much lore to them, but but I'd like to keep what little of it there is intact and to not have everyone die off super quickly and be replaced with really fugly Sims. I also want to play semi/loosely rotationally, so I don't want my inactive households to implode while I'm tending to my other Sims. By this point, I've done a lot of thinking about the fact that I want to play rather than what I'll actually be playing initially in this forever world, so I'm intending to keep things small initially. You know, in Minecraft, you tend to find one little area where you build your first base and you get to know it really well before you start gallivanting off on far-flung adventures. And I'm gonna do the same in The Sims 4. I'm gonna start by playing in one neighborhood to begin with. I obviously can visit different lots, but in terms of where my home lot will be based, that is going to be the starter area in Willow Creek. With how big and jumbled some of the more recent worlds have got with set dressing and general emptiness, I feel like this neighborhood actually feels quite well fleshed out nowadays. There are multiple item spawning locations, places to fish, access to Sylvan Glades, and even the little community garden area. I can also clearly see all the lots here too, which I really like. My plan to start is to gradually transition each lot here to be a kind of container home / container themed commercial space. This is something I was working on years ago, like at least 6 or 7 years ago, and the fact that the memory has stuck with me for so long suggests that this is a good idea to replicate as I get going. I'm not a crazy builder as well, so I intend to do this very gradually, and I like how the kind of container aesthetic is quite a simple one, so I think that it could be, again, quite a cool place to get started. Just as a quick reminder, if you've enjoyed the video so far, I'd be really grateful if you considered liking the video. Doing that, subscribing, and watching to the end shows YouTube's algorithms that my videos are valuable enough to show to more people, which is a huge help. Enough of my spiel then, what am I going to be doing with my first household in my forever world in The Sims 4? Now, I know I said that I've already got so much content for this game that I haven't fully explored, but I couldn't help myself. I bought the new businesses and hobbies pack just because I've loved seeing how creative players have been getting with their home business lots, and I want to be able to kind of integrate as much of this, like, life into the world as I can off the jump. Also, one of my top 3 Sims 4 packs is spa days. I love going to spas IRL, and I want to see if I can run a functioning home spa business using the new expansion. As usual, I followed my 3-step intentional gameplay setup question framework to make my first sim. A video all about that is going to be linked above in the cards and down below. So the idea of starting a home spa was really what I was feeling like playing. And as for who I would be playing with, I wanted to start with a sim who was actually already living in Willow Creek, so I went with Summer Holiday. I thought that the fact that she was very charismatic and athletic would be perfect for starting this wellness journey. Plus, it's already nice to see that she's acquaintances with her old roommates Liberty and Travis, and I really do mean just acquaintances. I know that this is old news by now, but the fact that the BFF household members barely know anything about each other and has still not been addressed in the base game updates over the years is quite frustrating. I'll have to work on building their relationships up over time while in this save. Back to Summer though, I gave her a makeover, moved her into a new household, and plopped her down in the empty lot right across the street. I dropped her cash down to 5,000 simoleons, as I feel like that's a good little pot of savings that she could have reasonably saved with her position in the culinary career. Then I made the first container and very crudely furnished it with a tiny amount of money that I had left over. I could somehow only afford a cot bed, pea bush, bin, and decorative tree. To match Summer's aesthetic as well, I couldn't help but make the container blue. I then got my calendar set up. I've got seasons set to be 2 weeks long, and I like to change the names of the holidays to be like the Sims 3 ones for the most part. Because I started this save in spring, all I could do for now was add in Leisure Day during summer, but I'll be switching Winterfest to Snowflake Day and adding in Spooky Day during the autumn later down the line. And then it was into live mode. Now, if you've watched the video so far and have been enjoying it, I'd really appreciate some help really quickly. I actually filmed the first 90-ish minutes of me playing in this save as a very chatty, long play style of video. I was thinking about uploading it with very minimal editing, just as something that you could play in the background while you're playing Sims yourself or other games, because I've never really made that type of video. I'm a little bit nervous about me posting it because I did get quite rambly in places, so do let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that type of content from me. But anyway, as for what I did in my first Forever World playthrough, play session. I was keen to get Summer's spa business off the ground, so albeit super late after the pack's initial release, prepare for some early initial impressions of the businesses and hobbies pack too. After running around the neighborhood to gather up what collectibles had already spawned, I got a phone call from a ghost saying that I was somehow their sole heir. From their message, I thought that all I had to do was create a will to get it, but I literally just got given the 4,000 simoleons without doing anything. So thank God this wasn't a full-on rags to riches challenge, because then all challenge would have literally been destroyed. I went to the traditional spa lot, which I'd plopped down in Newcrest, and started working on Summer's wellness skill. And Liberty had also called to say that she was having a hard time and wanted to come for a stay over, so you'll see her on my home lot quite a lot. Unfortunately, the only place that I had for her to sleep was in the pea bush, so yeah, she had a great time, question mark. Because I didn't have a fridge or any food source during the first few days, I was actually using the fruitcake which her and Travis had brought over during the welcome wagon, which had been left out literally on the pathway for days. Somehow it didn't spoil despite it being rained on, again sitting out of a fridge for days and just being like walked over constantly. Then on the second day, a mysterious stranger came by and told us to start a home business and started us off on a mini quest line to get us off the ground. I actually appreciated this little tutorial here. We got given another 2,000 simoleons for completing some of these tasks. As you can see, I copied the first container I'd made and designed that as the business public area. It's not pretty at all, but our little spa was up and running, and I was very surprised to see how many activities there were here. It seems like the devs really went all in on cross-pack compatibility aspects, which is great. I also liked seeing how well running the spa paired with the aspiration that I picked out for Summer. It was one of the ones that got added with the Spa Day refresh that's all about making money using wellness activities. Every time I went to host a yoga lesson, Sims that joined paid 55 simoleons at the beginning of the class and 55 after they finished. I'm assuming that this was done in case a lesson got interrupted for any reason, and speaking of, I did have to cut off a session early once or twice because either Summer or one or two of the participants started freezing to death. Building an indoor yoga studio will have to be added to my list of to-dos for sure. Other than running yoga classes, I also had Summer offer guests massages, charged $5 an hour per sim for access to the spa, and sold a few random items to make some extra cash. These included gems and frogs found around the neighborhood. I was talking about this in my long play recording, but if the girl boss Gwyneth Paltrow has taught us anything, any object can be used in your wellness routine so long as you market it correctly. After the first few days of being open, I made a little under 1,000 simoleons a day, which is actually really good. I haven't branched into hiring any employees yet, but I will be soon. I feel like this rate of cash flow will be a good amount to feel like I'm gradually making progress with improving the spa over time while not feeling like I'm progressing too quickly. After this first play session, I came away feeling really excited to keep going. It feels really cool that I can finally run my own spa in The Sims 4 after I've wanted to do it for so long. So all in all, I'm feeling very happy with how my Sims 4 Forever World has got started. But I want to note the fact that this is all an experiment. This game can be temperamental at the best of times, and I'm more than aware of the fact that For Rent is causing corruption in people's saves. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to keep this as my Forever World, but we'll see. As for ideas for other households that I'll be working on in the future, I don't have many ideas just yet. I do feel like, again, I want to really fully flesh out this neighborhood before moving on, and I think that it could be cool to have at least another 2 home businesses here at least, and maybe start a club for all of the owners/neighbors. Again, I'm not super sure yet, so I'm open to any ideas that you might have. Do let us know if this video has inspired you to start a Forever World in The Sims 4, and if so, you might want to check out this video here on the screen if you'll be starting a legacy challenge to start off with, as that's going to give you my top tips for how to start off really strong. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you again soon.